Disclosure news and commentary number 115. Woo! How are you? I am good. Somebody sent me this a long time ago, and today is the first day I'm finally using it. It's really nice. I've actually already torn through this thing once. It's hot, baby. It's hot out there. And then I just put this back into it. So I'm drinking a lot of water, which is probably good. I had a day of strange errands, wonderful surprises, and a bunch of other great stuff. Let's just jump into it. I gotta say right off the rip, No Peace Underground, Effie's The Gay Agenda was the shit. It was crazy. What can I say about that show, man? One, shout out to the people at No Peace for rolling the red carpet out for me and my friend Ray Lesher, who is from out of town. We caught up. Again, I think that was the first live wrestling show that Ray had been to since we saw in the main event of a WWF C show that was in Hawaii. The main event was Nikolai Volkov against George the Animal Steel. All right, this was a C level WWF show. I think that was the last wrestling show that Ray went to. If you want to put a year on it, we're talking 86. Yeah. So for Ray's first wrestling show in, do the math, Asian, 35 years. 35 years. Is that right? Yes, that is right. He goes to No Peace Underground. What happens at this show? This dude happened. And he was wrestling this dude. Making sure I get the pics up there correctly. You got Ashton Starr. Never done deathmatch stuff before. He messaged me weeks ago about it. I gave some suggestions. He definitely got his tooth knocked out, as you could see. Bam. And he's bleeding all over his face. The dude he wrestled took some sideways swings with the light tubes. Ear bleeding like crazy. Talking to them after. Talked to everybody after. Sawyer Wreck, who I was already a huge fan of, came out and killed it. The Nerf gun thing with the needles in it and sticking to Satuji. This thing was crazy. I definitely worked my ass off, taking pictures, taking videos, getting them up on Twitter, getting the discussion going, letting people know that they were missing a motherfucking show. They missed a fucking show. If you did not see that show, you can still see it on IWTV. I've been checking out IWTV more and more and more and more. My hair is crazy because I cleaned up after my really crazy afternoon where I went all over the place. A lot of that I describe in Patreon. By the way, still picking up Patreon people. Still getting people upgrading their Patreon. I'm going to have that video at the end. But I just got to speak on this No Peace. No Peace has really come on. From what I've been told, they are number 3 on IWTV. When you factor in the fact that ICW is going to take one of those spots, that is incredible. The job that they're doing at No Peace, you need to check it out. You need to, that opening video about the gay agenda and what people have said about people in the LGBTQ community, that fired that crowd up. All that like ranting stuff about how gay people are evil and all this stuff. People were hyped. And I'll say this about Effie, and this is not going to be news to a lot of people, but it's going to be news to some of you. So let me move these pictures. Um, is That guy's a star, and it's well beyond just his sort of aura, which is definitely star. The guy is an absolute star. When you just factor him in, even how people treat him after the show, but he doesn't carry himself with an air of superiority. Um, but he's a guy who you could tell completely knows what he wants to do, and people just want to get with his brand. They want to get with him. They want to be a part of projects that he is initiating or running or contributing towards. Effie, uh, who I saw years ago when Gunnar Miller and Shane Marks were going to be part of a multi-person match on this card in Ybor City near Tampa. So I went to that, ended up driving them, and then Priscilla Kelly. Now Gigi Dolan. That is a story. But on this card, Effie got into an unwitting shoot fight with a dude who found out you don't fuck with Effie. So more credibility towards Effie. But that's when I first learned like how popular Effie was amongst the boys and amongst various people. But Effie is a fucking star. Not to mention the match he pulled off with Pero. It's not easy to wrestle Pero, right? That's not a knock. It's just the truth. Pero's a giant gargantuan man. You got to really lay your stuff in. And let me tell you about Effie. That guy laid his stuff in. Him and Pero were the main event of that show, and in a show that had a million great moments. Kelsey Reagan taking that freaking bump off of the stage. There were so many great moments. Follow me on Twitter if you want to see those clips, by the way. What is my Twitter handle? Steven Platinum, because I'm a fucking pimp. P-I-M-P, pimp. But Effie and Pero really showed their stuff, and I'm such a fan of Effie. A friend of mine, who I will remain nameless because this is the kind of thing that could cause some kind of weird backlash, even though it's not intended to be that way, refers to Effie as the famous queer. I think it's the funniest fucking thing ever, and I think Effie would fucking love it, frankly. But yeah, there's no doubt that that is a fact. And a few promotions in Georgia have brought Effie in, but I think getting Effie now would be a totally different thing because he's on a different level of stardom. And now after seeing it in person, it's well deserved. And speaking of No Peace, my last little bit about them, hooking me up with the free shirt. Look at this freaking crazy thing. Now, a lot of people are doing stuff for Pride Month, and I think that's tremendous, of course. Look at that, the freaking crazy goat head, but on the back, just as cool. Fear the Gay Agenda, No Peace Underground. I'm going to put this shirt on now, because there's no way my children are not stealing this shirt. So I have to enjoy it while I can. I almost put this thing on backwards. All right, so I'm going to put this on, but I have one unboxing to do. Cool. I have one unboxing to do, and then I was told that I got something else to my P.O. box today. So I have something to look forward to next week. Here we go with this one. I know who it's from, though, because I see Zach Mosley. So the Exotic Youth hooking a brother up. You know who hasn't hooked a brother up? Gary Lamb. No response about the bet. Maybe he didn't hear about it, but I doubt it. Gary Lamb just doesn't want to have a bet about it, doesn't want to make a thing about it. That's fine. But all I know is saying you're going to get 1,000 in October, saying you're going to do it without bringing in names, I'm going to hold you to that shit. Whoop. All right, I'm going to show you the same time as I show me. Oh, they hooked me up with the Exotic 316 shirt. Well, hell, it's gonna go over this pride shirt from No Peace Underground, the exotic youth, the conqueror of all, um, making it known. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Exotic youth. Man, I got 3 shirts on now. Make my arms look big as shit. You know what else makes my arms look as big as shit? My arms. Mmm. Um, I'm gonna start hitting this hard. IWE, July 17th. That's their next show. I'm gonna be there. People saying, when you coming back? When you coming back? When you coming back? July 17th, I'm gonna be back in the state of Georgia. And people are already asking me about this, that, or the other. I haven't made any other definitive plans around that. I am holding a hotel room in Atlanta proper on Friday night. And then I will be in Augusta on July 17th, Saturday night. Yeah. So I don't know. Last time I made a big, huge trip about it, I went by the PCW school. I went to Pro South. I went to IWE, and I went to GIPW. Craziness. Let's talk about me going to shows and on the road, because this is pretty nuts. By the way, that IWE card, Hammerstone and O'Shea Edwards as the main event. The fuck? That's a big fight. Danny Jordan. This is something that makes me really happy and makes me really glad that I point stuff out on Full Disclosure. When I pointed out the fact that Danny Jordan had been doing such a great job promoting herself and subsequently IWE with her daily pictures of the IWE belt and that kind of stuff that she's been doing, I see a number of other people are now beginning to do similar kind of posts, promoting themselves as the champion of so-and-so and such, really putting some promotions front and center, doing it constantly. I love it. I think it's great. And, and then maybe someday, let us dream that promoters can stop pissing and moaning and complaining and whining about the wrestlers not doing their job for them. Oh, shit. It's fucking true, though. Fucking pussy motherfuckers. End of rant. One of many we're going to have. By the way, other things I'm going to. I decided I'm going to go to, on June 27th, I'm going to go to Pro Wrestling Action Heroes and Villains. It's a promotion here in Florida that was supposed to have their first show before COVID. I even did a Platinum Show investigations about it, but then they had to end up canceling because of COVID, which was a bummer. But now they're going to retry and have their first show June 27th in Orlando. So I'm going to be there. I'm going to let them know I'm going to be there. I saw that Shalandra Royal is going to be on that card, so I'm down. I'm there. The Pro Wrestling Action Heroes and Villains, part of their thing is clearly defined faces and heels, that they're making no bones about that fact. And I find that interesting. Speaking of interesting, on July 24th, there's a group called Division Pro Wrestling. Now, what is that about? Why are they called Division Pro Wrestling? Because they have actual weight classes. So they have 3 different weight classes for the men, and then they have a women's division. And they stick to those things very tightly. They have champions in the 4 divisions. What kind of crazy... So they hooked me up. They already sent me the tickets. Look, all these people who are asking me to come to shows and asking me to give you coverage, I love it. You know the easiest way to get me to come to your show? Motherfucking make it so I don't have to worry about shit. Hook me up with some fucking tickets. There's a good chance I'm going to check you out. I'm just being fucking honest, all right? My time is a valuable thing. And if you hook me up, I will be there. And July 4th, dun, 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 dun. No, that's the fucking wedding. I fucked it up. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. July 4th, Nation's birthday. No Peace Underground is back at the Soundbar, so you know I'm going to be there. I'm going to be that old guy in the club because the No Peace Underground crowd tends to run really young and really attractive. And I'm the old guy in the club going like, so how's it going there? Are we going to Dougie? What's this dance we're going to do, guys? Uh, but I'm going to be there July 4th. July 7th, in Miami, Poppy. AEW's there. Nyla Rose wanted me and the kids there, so we're going to be there. It's going to be, I'm pretty sure, a Dynamite taping because it's on a Wednesday. In Miami, Poppy. I love Miami. I love Miami. So I'm going to be there. And then July 17th, like I said, I'm going to be at IWE in Augusta, Georgia. And July, God, I'm busy as shit. Busy as shit, and I love it. I'm going to put out a P list. People have been asking me to put out a P list. I'm going to put out a P list. Lately, it's tended to run towards the top 10 wrestlers. I'm not going to do that one yet. Here's what I am going to do. It's one I've avoided doing the whole time I've done P lists because I know it's a no-win situation. But you know what? Fuck it. My life is about fighting against all odds, but not that movie I would never watch again. Top 10 promotions. Why do I do that to myself? One, maybe I'm jealous of all of the bullshit that Rob had to go through for doing top 10 factions. It's like, give me some of that. Give me some of that bullshit. So, top 10 promotions. P list. All right. It's a weird psychological thing because I tend to try to drink a gallon of water a day regardless, but something about having in this container and just knocking it back. If I can do a decent pull on this thing, I can knock out like 2 hours or even 4 according to this thing. And there's something psychological that really works for me. Just saying, little pro tip there. Follow up on Johnny Slaughter bullshit. So, Victory Championship Wrestling. What the fuck is going on there? By the way, I got to remember to put it up. Any meme that fucking has my name in it, that shit's going up. So, it's so fucking true, too. Everybody got behind that shit. And, look at that shit. Let me just bask in the glory. This is the second meme that I've been mentioned in. And a featured star in. I love it. I love the memes. All right. So, what's the latest? What the fuck is with the shitty name? She is now abandoned Victory Championship Wrestling after trying to defend that kids camp bullshit. Now she's abandoned it after defending it, and a whole bunch of other people defend it. People sent me all kinds of screen captures and all kinds of stuff about VCW basically saying like, well, all Slaughter does is production stuff and he's not really out there and he doesn't really have contact. Not that there would be anything wrong if he did, like, just talking out of both sides of their ass, avoiding the simple argument of, is it really a good idea to have this guy involved in your show if you don't want people to have a negative opinion about your show? Was it really smart to do a fucking kids camp? Do we really need to have a kids camp, first of all? Seems problematic. And then it's not really a kids camp. It's more like a party where there's a wrestling. The fuck. So Victory Championship Wrestling now playing it's not fair because everybody's bullying us. But all they had to do was cut Slaughter out of it. But they can't do it. So they've taken different kind of tacks and different kind of strategies. We'll pretend that he's not in charge. We'll pretend that it's not his. We'll pretend that none of this was his idea. Or we'll pretend that he doesn't have influence. We'll pretend that it's not okay to oust him anyway because After all, innocent until proven guilty, which is what I always love, right? Would you let Johnny Slaughter babysit your fucking kids? Probably not. At the end of the day, it's hard to imagine a group handling all of this worse than VCW has handled the Johnny Slaughter thing. And it's important to note, and I'm saying this for the audience that listens to me, of course, that as much as they might try to deflect and put it on other people and try to assign some sort of cancel culture boogeyman to this thing, at the end of the day, the entity that is at fault for the fall of VCW is VCW. They're the ones who chose to handle it in this way. They're the ones who chose to have this sort of thing with Johnny Slaughter instead of just getting somebody else. And it's Johnny Slaughter who is unable, ego-wise or whatever reason, to disassociate himself with it. It is the biggest head in the sand thing that I can remember, as far as just a sheer disaster that everybody knew was going to happen and handled as badly as you could, and then assessing blame to everybody except for the people that they needed to assess blame to, which was themselves and Johnny Slaughter. It reminds me, oddly, of the Stranglehold thing, where it was a show that was so far out of its ass and then did everything they could, including during the course of their show, fucking with PCW and Matt Hankins. Holy shit, what was the fucking thinking there? And then afterwards trying to blame the fact that they said that it was my fault that they had nobody watching that fucking thing, even though I was just like, please put this show on because I know it would make the greatest follow-up of all time, and it did. But that level of stupidity and ignorance, my God, it's pro wrestling, is it not? Speaking of, this is very strange. So I got back on the saddle covering every national show last week. I even fucking hit the fucking 2 pay-per-views over the weekend. Busy motherfucker, right? Well, tonight, normally AEW Dark Elevation would be playing right now, but they didn't get that shit up. And I looked around and I saw the matchups that were going to happen, and I was excited because Kevin Blackwood, who's one of the guys on the No Peace Underground show, who I really like here in Florida, he was going to be in a tag match. But I haven't seen hide nor hair of it. They didn't have the premiere thing in advance. I had to find the screen capture elsewhere. I don't think this shit's happening. Or no, there it is. They just got it up really, really late. Weird. Episode 14. Yeah, there it is. And is it happening as we speak? Sorry. This is shit I'm...
Here on Elevation, it's not Shark Week, it's Wardlow Week. A big match this weekend.
Okay. Weird. It's just a fuck up that's happened before once or twice with AEW and their YouTube stuff. Okay, I'm glad it's on. So I'm guessing I'm going to have to play catch up later on. Oh well. Full disclosure goes out Monday nights. So it's going to happen. So Johnny Slaughter, VCW, now even Lady McShitty name is fucking abandoned them, so I don't know what the fuck's going on. I know that they're running Screaming. Are they still putting on that kids camp? Is that still a fucking thing? Are the biker people still gonna protest? Dude, fucking cancel that shit. What is this fucking Could you imagine, even if you didn't know anything about this controversy, you show up to put your kid in this camp. This camp, by the way, is fucking weird. It's like 6 at night to 8:30 at night. That's not when you want your kids in a camp environment. It's what the fuck ever. But you walk your kids up there and there's a bunch of people protesting and the word pedophiles being thrown around. What the fuck do they think people are going to sign up for that shit? And then if they sign up for it, do they think they're going to like follow through with that shit? Do they think they're going to push their way through the protesters holding the hand of their 8-year-old to fucking put them in a wrestling camp? I guess. KLT drew 355. So right now, when you consider that Southern Honor got 440, I'm going to give them the 440. I mean, 417 paid. I appreciate that honesty. 440 with comms, fuck it, that's 440. KLT 355. So Gary Lamb back on top, crowd wise, but we have big Larietto shows coming up. I haven't got a crowd number yet from, or Mucha Luchas next month. So, very fascinating, very interesting, very cool, by the way. Renegade got their numbers back up, past the rookie numbers, 106. West Georgia Wrestling, 177. You know what I found interesting in Rob Rod's report? You should be reading Rob Rod's reports and Larry's reports and Charles' reports on gwhnewsandnotes.blogspot.com. What I found interesting was this thing where Rob was just like, they said there was this many, and so I counted 3 times and I kept getting different numbers and blah, blah, blah. You know what I find interesting? We now really, really, really care about what the actual numbers are, that's a thing. You're fucking welcome! Right? Pro South doing their thing. I reviewed the Tyler Culprit Ace Haven contract signing. Some people asked, they're like, oh, no, you were going to look at my thing. You're right. So why did I look at this thing? Somebody gave me money. If you give me money, you go to the front of the line. If you can't tell, pretty busy. My day today was occupied with wrestling shit, even though I didn't put out a ton of videos. So I did get a Patreon video out there. I'm obviously doing full disclosure. I had wrestling related stuff to do. So that's every day, all day. PCW, didn't see a report from Larry yet, but here's the 2 things I got. One, they got their crowd up from last time, which is awesome. I think consistency, they will continue to see that. Once people know they can trust that they're always going to do that show, that Wardlow knee to the face as the guy falls thing looked so fucking good. Holy shit. Looked great. Sorry, I got it on the TV here in the background. Often I will have one show on the freaking laptop and another one on my television. I'm trying to live like Matt Hankins, y'all. Like, I'll never forget that, where Matt Hankins had multiple televisions playing different kinds of wrestling. It was bizarre. It's fucking crazy. It was cool as shit. And I was also told that the Butcher and Naja match was awesome. Larry described it as the best match that he saw, including that great shit at Viral. We'll talk about Viral in a second. But Butcher versus Naja, that match. I've been told Joe Black, Lou Retton, that match. Can't wait to see that shit. But I have a few matches and promos that I'm going to be looking at this week. Stacking up. I saw that I finally get to really rewatch really, the Ugly Ducklings against Exotic Youth from the last IWE show. That shit was unbelievable to see live. I can't wait to look at it again. It's a great match for people to see and to hear an analysis of. Yes, best believe it's real. I am looking at all that shit. So Viral, I'll just get the elephant in the room out of the way. Drew 125. It's probably the lowest crowd they've ever had. Even in this new venue, this different venue for them. And they're going back to the old venue. Hopefully that will help their crowd numbers. But 125 regardless. They were in that same building their last show and drew 175. So that's a significant drop, right? It's an over 25% drop. So that's huge. And a number of people were discussing it with me. Why do you think that is? I really don't know. I do know that they're hitting the promotion for the next thing hard, and they're and it's good news, right? We've already sold out the first row, but I mean, if they're going back to their old venue, that's a good thing. They're going down to normal ticket prices. That's a good thing. I think they just priced themselves out of their market. It's a shame that the Chip Day John Davis match didn't happen because John Davis, I guess, got pink eye, couldn't be there. That sucks. I love John Davis. I hate that for Chip too, but from all accounts, Chip is like on his game, boy. And when Chip's on his game, as good as anybody, better than almost everybody. That shit's dope. I'm gonna say it again. As good as anybody, better than almost everybody. Oh shit. Chip Day, feel free to fucking use that. Just if it's on a shirt, please send me the shirt. I'm gonna get out some fucking merch this week. I'm saying it out loud, so I have to do it. Let me write that down. But congratulations to Butcher and Naja. If that match becomes available to watch, best believe I'm going to review that. Don't forget the first match of the year for the year was Naja and ERC. Naja is on his shit. I think Naja is one of these guys that he was always really good, but I think that time away did him even better because he upped his ring IQ, coupled with still being physically able to do it. I think that's why he's doing the best stuff. And Butcher, of course, one of the trainers at PCW. Very proud he's there. Makes me really happy. Makes me feel like something is continuing. Good stuff. Quick notes, Tipping Point, which will be not tomorrow, but the week after on the 22nd. We're going to have Dan and Tank, who are all over the damn place. And they're going to be able to talk to us about Buds on Boardwalk. They're going to be in Joyzy wrestling a ton of times. Tank is wrestling a ton of people on a ton of shows. They're on ICW stuff. Hell, this Saturday, I think that's right. This Saturday, they're going to be Pro Wrestling Georgia, Insane Lane. Cody McCulley taking another shot, doing that deathmatch show right there in the building at the Landmark. If it's not Saturday, I'm sorry if I'm wrong about that. But it is this weekend. Tank and Dan are working all over the place, and they are in demand. People are contacting them. We want you. We want you. They're going to be part of the Rumble Jack in a couple of months for Southern Honor. They're just all over the place, and why wouldn't you want those motherfuckers? I mean, Dan's firing out those great promos. All of a sudden, Georgia area, promo state. Matt Hankins, still great. Yeah, you got Dan cutting promos. You got these individual wrestlers cutting promos. Joe Black is cutting promos. Darius Lockhart is cutting promos. Exotic Youth putting out their crazy shit. Tyler Colbrett. I want to see. Here's people I want to see promos from. Now, that doesn't mean they're not putting them out. It's just I can't wait to see these. I want to see All-Star Special promo. I want to see it. I want to see some fun All-Star Special promos. I want to see promos from. I want to continue to see promos from the powers that be for Manders and for Sexton. I've seen the little backstage skits and vignettes. Awesome. The Michael Judas thing, if you haven't seen that, that's great too. Dude, the Horn of Plenty is happening right now. So much great content being put out. It's really, really great. I want to encourage that to continue to happen. July 7th, Road Rager. I'm going to be there at the James L. Knight Center in Miami, Florida. There's a small chance I'll be at Buds on Boardwalk. I don't think it's going to happen, though. I think I'm just too busy. And I got to make that money. Even though I can do a lot of my stuff on the road. We've seen that. I just don't think I can do it. Which makes me... But if my biggest problem is I can't get all the way to Jersey to see wrestling shows. It's okay. It's okay. Cool. Let's get to the commentary. Let's get to this. Oh, sorry. So the tipping point. So we're going to have Dan and Tank, and then we're going to discuss who are the front runners for the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. Folks, we're already at the halfway point of the year. Let me say that again. We're at the halfway point of the year. Can you believe this shit? It's wonderful. It finally feels like we're all back in the swing of things, and it's really great. And I don't know. It's great. It's a great time to be alive. Commentary. This picture, me covered in blood, holding a sharpened screwdriver. You would also see, if the picture was one, you would see my jacket tucked into my pants. What the fuck? Why is that? I'm going to tell you the story of the bloody picture. Let's go ahead and take it down because we want to see my beautiful face. So, all right. Sorry, I'm writing down to make sure that I put the Patreon video at the end because some people have moved up in status and some people have been added. I want to make sure I highlight all those people. All right. I'm going to call up that picture for myself right in front of me just so I don't forget anything. Because, I go off the rip on these things a lot. But I want this picture up here for inspiration. Now, this 10 years ago. What's the match where this happened? MGCW, before they were NWA Atlanta, it was their War Games show. Legit War Games. 2 rings, cage around both. This was on the heels of, though we had already kind of resolved that angle. Keep in mind, we had resolved the angle of MGC or whatever, Mid-Georgia Championship Wrestling, and PCW. I had brought them in because we were having another blow-off happen at the Masquerade. So Shane Marks was retaining his title in the cage against somebody. I think it was Mason, actually. And I needed something to sort of bridge. This is before the Empire took over. This is before Shane Marks went heel. This was during his first incredibly lengthy title run, his first run with the PCW Championship. So I had the MGCW guys invade. A lot of fun. So, you're talking Andy Anderson in full Sting-esque mode, Curry Kid Jr., Mr. X, and a pasty, doughy Tyson Dean. Okay? Steve, why would you do this angle? Because it was cool and it was different. And they were kind of in the vicinity. And I had attended their shows before. And I thought, why not experiment with this idea of an invasion just to kind of get it going? So I booked this thing. What's notable about it? So these MGCW guys attack. I let Eric Fields, I believe, who was helping them out with that show. He cuts this great promo about like Stephen Platinum keeps running his mouth. That's when I was doing the full disclosure column, I believe. Actually, no, that wasn't even a thing yet. I was just a fucking loudmouth on the internet trying to get attention for PCW all the time. And then so he cuts this promo, he makes fun of everything else and blah, 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 blah. Well, we're here to shut him up. Great. So the concept was that we would go title versus title at the next Masquerade show. So Shane Marks against Andy Anderson. And if there's ever been a doubt that Shane Marks is great, I saw Bill Barron's posted a thing of Hayden Young, who's a guy that I trained, who was their TV champion, taking on Shane Marks a long time ago, right? So, oh yeah, that picture was from 10 years ago, but it's actually, no, it's about 10 years ago. Yeah. So, sorry. In any case, so Shane Marks carried Andy Anderson in a match. Carried. And then the finish was the referee, Montez, who is also Curry Kid Jr., right? He was their, like, partial to them referee. So the finish was Shane Marks puts Andy Anderson down, hits a 450. Folks, Shane Marks hits a 450. First one he ever did in a match. I knew that he could do it. He knew that he could do it. Hits it in the match. Referee counts 1, 2, and then is agonizing. I remember him playing the agony up. Montez is so good. Playing the agony up. I don't want to hit 3, but I feel obligated. And the crowd is yelling. I remember Team All You Can Eat, including Matt Hankins. They're screaming, yelling, do it, do it, do it. And then finally he hits it for the 3rd time. Shane Marks is dual champion. The theory being, then we'll go to your backyard and Shane Marks will lose your title back to you, right? Interesting thing about the initial invasion part. A guy named Matt Hankins messaged me and said, how did you get me to give a fuck about why do I care about these guys coming in, but I care? You continue to manipulate. That started the communication between Matt Hankins and I directly, which led to everything that's going today. Think about how crazy that is, right? Because he felt obligated to write me to go like, fuck, you continue to fucking make us interested in all the crazy things you do in the show. Interesting what can come about by reaching out and returning the favor, yeah? A little lesson there, I think. In any case, so we go to MGCW in McDonough, Georgia. Did find a great comic book shop there when I went there. To play the role of the heels and for Shane Marks to lose the MGCW title back to Andy Anderson. But some kind of personal thing happened, so they had to end up doing that match second on the card, which was really fucking weird. But the fun part was me getting to sort of heel out and just be a asshole and fucking kick the shit out of Dave Wills. It's real to me, damn it, Dave Wills, because he was one of their commentators. So I got to kick the shit out of him, which was fucking a ton of fun. And people really did not like me. And I had fun embracing this sort of heel persona that I hadn't got to do for years, which led to them bringing me back. So I would manage Simon Sermon, and the two of us would have a fucking ball on these really kind of shitty shows. MGCW shows were not very good. The talent was not very good. Though it did plant the seed of Tyson Dean would become good. Obviously, he would become great, right? Iron Man matches, got his body together, really smart about the business. It's hard to believe it was the same guy. But just as interesting to me was Montez, right? Who did that great job as the referee that would lean towards MGCW. So fast forward, so I got to do some heel stuff there. But, you know, once Shane Marks dropped his title there, it was what it was. Andy Anderson never really liked me, continues to not like me to this day. But whatever, I helped out his fucking show more than he ever fucking helped out mine. That's for damn sure, but that's neither here nor there. In any case, so their big War Game show was coming. And that for them, that was their big show of the year. They brought in Road Dogg and fucking Billy Gunn and then threw them in that match. And, on the babyface side, along with Andy Anderson and his fucking hapless fucking brother. So that was going to be one team. And the other side, they're going to have Vic Rose. Yeah, this is right. Simon Sermon, Vordell Walker, and Rick Michaels. But Rick Michaels couldn't do it because of violation of the probation and all this kind of bullshit. So they were stuck. They needed a heel. And more importantly, they needed a heel that the crowd would feel very satisfied that that heel is the one who gave up. So, as much shit as people try to give me and as you know, fuck you, Steve, and blah, 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 and Who did they fucking call? Me. So I went in and did that show. Did I get paid for that show? Nope. Did they offer to pay me? Nope. But I went and did it. I did it for a number of reasons. One, I knew that I was the only guy who could kind of fit that role and be willing to do the job and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was a nice way to culminate the PCW thing on their end because I always try to live up to my word. And I wanted to make sure that, even though it wasn't our fault that they put the title switch back on a second match on the card, that was them. But I still felt like I wanted to make sure that they were sort of made whole out of the whole thing. That's one reason I did it. Another reason is I wanted to, I felt terrible about Rick going away. It wasn't a bullshit thing, but it was definitely not. It was not consummate with what Rick had done. I mean, the violation of his probation was one of those things where it wasn't like he did anything bad. It was one of those like dumb things where it's like you're not allowed to do this, that, and the other, and stuff that is not, otherwise not illegal, but because he had done time, you know. So then he did technically violate the probation, but it was nothing that harmed anybody. And so I felt really bad about that. So I wanted to make sure Rick's end was covered. It was a chance to work with Simon Sermon, who I fucking love that guy. I fucking love that guy. I don't even fully understand the relationship and the friendship between Simon and I. I just know that he's an honorable man, and I really like him. And it was a chance to be in a double ring war games that wasn't PCW's. That certainly was a factor. And, Road Dogg, cool. That was cool. That really wasn't that big of a deal to me. I'd fucking been in the ring with many guys of that caliber or bigger. But that was cool too. But there I was, and they had this big show. Oh, and another reason is it was a chance to show guys that I booked in PCW and students that I had trained who were going to be there to watch the show, like, fucking watch me fucking work. And work I did. Because make no mistake about it, while Simon and Vordell Walker basically worked with Road Dogg and freaking Billy Gunn, which is what should happen. You know, Vordell Walker from a work rate standpoint and Simon from a like fucking navigating standpoint. They're the right guys to work. Vic Rose just kind of wandered around and hit people with a chain. It was up to me to really carry Andy and his fucking brother. And I did it. I was the savage, vicious bastard. And the finish, where I'm locked in a sharpshooter and somebody from the other team's locked in a sharpshooter, and we're kind of going at it, and then I finally give up. It was a payoff for sure. I'm covered in blood. I mean, you can see in that picture, I'm fucking covered in blood. But my thing is, you give it all, right? You push all the poker chips on the table, and then when you lose, you're all in. You lose them all. So I was gonna put everything out. This certainly was going to be the last time I was going to be there. And so I did an old bit where I loosened my belt and my pants fell down, and I'm in my tighty whities and I'm flopping around trying to pull my pants up, and people are fucking going nuts after the show. And I just gave everything. But something else that I remembered was how upset. Now, it might not have been at this show. It might have been at a previous appearance that I had done for MGCW, but I believe it was this show. I remember Curry Kid Jr. being very upset because they basically wanted him to something to do with his mask. They wanted to unmask him or whatever. They weren't treating him, who was a guy who was very loyal to them, very faithful to them. They didn't treat him very well. And they didn't respect the importance that he put on that mask and how he wanted to protect that gimmick. I remember that. And he was very upset. Very sad. And it made an impression on me. Like, this guy fucking cares. This guy Montez really fucking cares. And so, I was determined to have him at PCW and to really get the best out of him. So the first key was this is like I put him in a feud with Supernatural, who was our mask guy, and I did a mask versus mask thing because I wanted that mask to be taken off of Montez properly. And then I remember, you know, it's like I want Montez to come back with a gimmick, unlike because I knew this guy's fucking smart. This guy has potential. I fucking believed in him. And my thing is, if you believe in somebody, you support them in the most efficient way possible. And for me, that was booking guys and talking to guys about their shit and working to. And lots of people will tell you stories of when I was fucking vicious to them, right? If their fucking ring work wasn't up to snuff, I fucking tell them. All of that shit. I wasn't afraid of conflicts. My God, the people that I fucking got into fucking altercations with, or the list is as long as my thank God only half Japanese dick, right? But really, people got the best of me as a booker, as a promoter, as a teacher. And for Montez, it came to me one day, what's hot? And that's when TMZ was kind of new. TMZ. His name is Montez. The Montez Zone. We have him come out and just fucking call him TMZ. I let him be himself. I let him dress with as much fucking swag and drip as he wants to fucking do it. He picked fucking All Eyes on Me by Tupac. He picked All Eyes on Me by Tupac. Fucking came up and I said, do what you want to fucking do. And his thing was he was just going to fucking shoot on that mic. And it was brutal. And it was legendary. For a run there at PCW, people just couldn't wait to see him get his ass kicked, but they also couldn't wait to see him. Was he going to talk about somebody's mom who fucking died, as he did? One of the fans. Was he going to talk about somebody who was a shitty father to their kid, as he did to one of the wrestlers? What the fuck was this guy going to say? All I knew was it was fucking... You couldn't take your eyes off of it. And that's the guy who would later be a big part of making that left-hand path thing. Taking a bunch of guys who most people didn't know about and really help giving them a thing. And that zombie dragon shit. And I didn't like all of it. But I was intrigued by all of it. Anything Zombie Dragon did. The day he broke somebody's neck in the ring, all this kind of crazy shit. I was just like, what the fuck? And that guy went to fucking China and made a fucking thing happen. I love that guy. I'm proud of that guy and still keep in contact with that guy. And he's always very gracious by giving me credit, by giving PCW credit. But if we deserve credit for anything, it was doing the most important thing there is to do, and that's the point of this commentary, is recognizing. Recognizing and then giving a true opportunity. If you want to take something from this, it's recognize the people around you. Give them the opportunities where warranted. But also, be honest with the fact that you yourselves, and I'm talking to the people who are like shot callers, that maybe you don't know. And maybe you are wrong. And I'm hoping with some of the effects of what we've seen lately, and I won't be more specific than that, but some people getting knocked off of their high horse, I think it's a direct reflection of people who have forgotten that it's not just about getting a reputation, and it's not just about, being the loudest voice in the room. But it's also about really understanding when you need to just take other people into account. And instead of always thinking of, I know best and I'm just going to say this, and this is coming from me. I get it. I really make a living through confidence about pro wrestling. I get that. At the same time, I don't think I'm also stunned at how incapable people are who are very vocal at really seeing which way the wind is blowing or even being able to assess themselves correctly and then covering it with this guise of, oh no, I just like trolling or I just like blah blah blah. And I think we're seeing the effects of that. And sometimes it just comes down to this simple thing: revealing that you're ignorant or that you're full of shit. I'm hoping that's becoming passe. And I'm hoping what's happening is people are now beginning to recognize the potential in others and their own flaws and deal with both of those things accordingly. Because if that can continue to happen, you're going to provide the foundation for greatness to occur. I'm not taking credit for what Montez Zombie Dragon has done. I'm not going to take credit for it. I'm just going to say that I'm going to continue to strive to be the fertile ground in which people can really take root and grow. I think that's invaluable. And I think there's a number of people that do it and the number of people that could do it better. And I want to continue to encourage that. Because at the end of the day, this is our chance. Wrestling is doing very well, again, at the indie level in the Georgia area. But never forget, sorry to be a downer, that it can end just as quickly. That these people, a lot of whom people are so quick to declare geniuses and embrace their own greatness and all of this stuff. If COVID showed us nothing else, and wrestling history shows us nothing else, shit comes and goes. Something that I say continuously, usually when people are trying to fucking fuck with me, is I've been doing this shit long before you, and I'll do it long after you have quit. It's as true as it's ever been. So, hopefully, people can bake their own humble pie and eat a slice once in a while before wrestling or me or both forces it down your fucking throat. This has been Full Disclosure.